Gather around the table once again for another session of Dungeons and Drakfus, and it's time, baby! So, all the way up to this, happy Thursday, by the way, all the way up to this, we have done the 3 Frozen Halls instances that led into this raid. I cannot begin to explain to you guys how long people waited for this raid. Welcome to Dungeons and Drakfus Icecrown Citadel. Alright, so, let's go ahead and get things started. Like I said, with the launch of Fall of the Lich King, we got an additional trailer, but this was actually an interesting raid launch. One that I don't think has ever been done again. Because of the hype around the Lich King, not only did we kind of got like weekly gates put in. That's the best way I know how to describe it. Because in the first week, you got the Frozen Halls instances, LFD, so you got the early LFD system, and then you also got the first 4 bosses of Icecrown Citadel. And then every couple of weeks, a new wing would unlock, and eventually you would be able to get access to the Lich King. It was to allow you to be able to get the gear that you needed from those lower-end bosses to then make your way up to the Lich King. So we don't have to worry about that, though. We're just going to go ahead and step on into Icecrown Citadel. This is going to be amazing. So you can see there's a battering ram out here from when the Argent Crusade broke their way in. We're probably just going to be doing the heroic version. Well, we want to do heroic. You know what? Just to make things go a little bit quicker, we'll just do, I think we're 25 man, aren't we? Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. So, here we go. I don't really need to explain the lore here, guys, because we've been building up to it ever since Wrath of the Lich King, and I will even link things down below so that not only can you get descriptions of... I'm going to put down the... Well, thank you, War Mill, that you've been completed. Not only am I going to be putting down below in the description I did the trailer for Fall of the Lich King on Forge of Souls, but here I'm going to be putting the story of the Lich King as told by Novel, so you guys can be able to understand how that works. It's a pretty lengthy video, so make sure that you understand that, but he has broken it up into parts too. So I'm going to be putting the story of the Lich King, and also he just recently put up the story of Icecrown Citadel, so you guys can check it out. But we're not going to worry too much about that, because we're walking in. And already it looks amazing. Now, sorry, I got a bit of ice here in my mouth. So you can see we have this encampment right here of not only the Knights of the Ebon Blade, but also of the Horde and the Argent Crusade. Now, if you came in here on the Alliance, you would get Varian Rin and his entourage, followed with Jaina Proudmoore. In the Horde version, we get Garrosh Hellscream. I believe originally we did get Thrall, because he was the war chief at this point. So we did get him as an added bonus. But now, since he's no longer the war chief, they since took him out. So, sorry. And actually, also over here, you can get Darian Mograine, the leader of the Knights of the Ebon Blade, and a couple of other pivotal characters throughout the questing in Northrend. But that's not why you guys are here. We've secured our foothold. Now we must step into the Citadel itself. So let's go ahead and step on in and take care of the Lich King. We can already see the first boss off in the distance. And I'm just going to go ahead and start this up so that we can get some dialogue going.
This is our final stand. What happens here will echo through the ages. Regardless of outcome, they will know that we fought with honor. That we fought for the freedom and safety of our people. Awaken. Remember, heroes, fear is your greatest enemy in these befouled halls. Steel your heart, and your soul will shine brighter than 1,000 suns. The enemy will falter at the sight of you. They will fall as the light of righteousness envelops them. Our march upon Icecrown Citadel begins now.
The light won't protect you here, Paladin. Nothing will protect you.
Arthas! I swore that I would see you dead and the Scourge dismantled. I'm going to finish what I started at Light's Hope.
You could have been my greatest champion, Fordring. a force of darkness that would wash over this world and deliver it into a new age of strife. But that honor is no longer yours. Soon, I will have a new champion. The breaking of this one has been taxing. The atrocities I have committed upon his soul. He has resisted for so long, but he will bow down before his king soon. Never! I will never serve you! In the end, you will all serve me.
Okay.
The Paladin still lives? Is it possible, High Lord? Could he have survived?
The power of the light knows no bounds, Sarfang. His soul is under great strain, but he lives. For now.
Then we must save him. If we rescue Bolvar Fordragon, we may quell the unrest between the Alliance and the Horde. Our mission is now clear. The Lich King will answer for his crimes, and we will save High Lord Bolvar Fordragon.
Okay.
Korkron,
dang
prepare
it.
Orgrin's hammer for its final voyage. Champions, our gunship will find a point to dock on the upper reaches of the Citadel. Meet us there.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that I was quiet for that so you could hear the dialogue, because now we have an additional mission. Remember, at the events of the Wrathgate, we lost Dranosh Sourfang, and Bolvar was suspected to be dead. And then, unfortunately, we didn't see this cutscene in Ulduar, but you can eventually see one in what we're guessing is Icecrown Citadel, and the Lich King torturing Bolvar Fordragon. So now we have a new goal. Not only do we need to take down the Lich King, but we need to save Bolvar Fordragon before he becomes yet another servant of the Lich King. So not only will we be working with Tyrion Fordring, but we'll also be working with Sourfang the Elder, Dranosh's father, to maybe secure Bolvar and kind of quell the hatreds that have been recently sparked between the Alliance and the Horde, mainly because of Garrosh's actions in the Ulduar trailer, as well as the Argent tournament. It's a pretty lengthy list. You understand now why people have such problems with Garrosh.
Awaken.
There we go. So the race is on. We need to make sure that we get up there as quick as we possibly can. But we will have obstacles along the way, including this guy.
This is the beginning and the end, mortals. None may enter the Master's sanctum.
All right, so it just so happens that this guy is the first boss, Lord Merogar. He is pieced together by the Lich King from the bones of 1,000 vanquished adventurers. He is the guardian of the frozen throne within the spire and wields the power of the throne itself. So, okay, we'll take care of this guy. This guy's decided to follow up behind us. So I've got the boss descriptions right here, and I'm going to try and bring them in as much as I can, but I'm going to warn people in advance. Some of these fights don't have lore to them. So that's just the bottom line of it. Let's go ahead and take on Lord Merogar. Fist of Fury!
The scourge will wash over this world as a swarm of death and destruction. Bound by bow.
Screw you, buddy. You're almost dead. Boom!
Only darkness.
Now, unfortunately, you didn't get to hear his trademark Bone Storm. But go around the internet, you'll find the meme everywhere. Okay, so now that we have Lord Marrowguard taken care of, we're gonna bounce into the second boss, who's not too far in. Don't worry about it. Alright. Up here, and...
You have found your way here, because you are among the few gifted with true vision in a world cursed with blindness. You can see through the fog that hangs over this world like a shroud, and grasp where true power lies.
Alright, so this is actually the second boss of Icecrown Citadel. The female Lich, Lady Death Whisper, is the supreme
eyes upon your crude hands. The sinew, the soft meat, the dark blood coursing within. It is a weakness, a crippling flaw, a joke played by the creators upon their own creations.
Oh, really? Okay.
The sooner you come to accept your condition as a defect, the sooner you will find yourselves in a position to transcend it.
Oh, okay. All right. As long as it's that simple. So the Lich Lady Death Whisperer is the supreme overseer of the Cult of the Damned and the second boss in Icecrown Citadel. The fight, so I'm not going to describe the fights there, but that's basically all that we have. She is the supreme overseer of the Cult of the Damned.
Things are possible. His power is without limit, and his will unbending. Those who oppose him will be destroyed utterly. And those who serve wholly, unquestioningly, with utter devotion of mind and soul, elevated to heights beyond your ken.
Okay, I'm only going to kill this one side, but technically you could just run up to Death Whisperer and begin the event. So we'll do that.
What is this disturbance? You dare trespass upon this hallowed ground?
This our fury!
Your final resting place.
Now, technically, you actually have to shatter her mana shield first before you can do any damage to her. We're not going to worry too much about that.
And show these intruders a taste of the Master's power.
Ah, there we go.
I see I must take matters into my own hands.
Okay. This our fury!
All part of the Master's plan. Your end is inevitable.
Okay, and with her, we actually get an elevator up to the upper citadel. So there we go. Now we're down from the lower end of it, and now we're going to ascend into the higher end. Now, one of the cool parts about Icecrown Citadel is that it's basically, for lack of a better term, Naxxramas 2.0. A lot of its design is inspired by the original Naxxramas, and therefore you're going to get Naxxramas 2.0 here. You're going to get separate wings of encounters and all of that fun stuff. Hence why this thing was brought out in wings over time. So we aren't even past the first wing, by the way. All of this is like the first 4 bosses. Basically, you have to earn your way into the Citadel, but first, you can see already the Alliance and the Horde are skirmishing. And so we need to take care of the Alliance, and then if you're Alliance, you actually go that way. This way, though, we're going to go for the Horde.
The Skybreaker has already left. Quickly now, to Orgrim's Hammer. If you leave soon, you may be able to catch them.
Will I? Really? Never would have guessed. Okay, so there's Orgrim's Hammer. It's the Horde gunship that we've been able to use throughout our Icecrown experience.
Akamagosh, brave warriors. The Alliance is in great
Oh no.
here. Captain Sarfang will be pleased to serve aboard Orgrim's Hammer. Make haste. We will secure
There we
the
go.
area until you are ready for takeoff.
Okay, so now that we have this, let's go ahead and get on Orgrim's Hammer. And all you gotta do is talk to High Overlord Saurfang to get things started. And this is technically the 3rd encounter, so this is the first one that has no lore, and it's simply because it's a skirmish between 2 gunships. So Orgrim's Hammer is going to be having a bit of an encounter with the Skybreaker. I have heard tale of my boy being here. That he's now a powerful Death Knight in service of the Lich King. If this is true, then it must be me that ends the bloodline. My charge now is to command Orgrim's hammer to the top of Icecrown Citadel and destroy all scourge that get in our way. We leave when you and your allies are ready. My companions are all accounted for, and by that I mean none of them. Let's go, Sourfang!
Rise up, sons and daughters of the Horde! Today,
Okay, all you gotta do?
we battle a hated enemy of the Horde! Loktar Ogar! Korkron, take us out!
So you can see the Skybreaker right there. All you have to do is take a cannon and just do as much damage to the Skybreaker as you can, and then you win the encounter. But like I said, there really isn't any lore here. You're taking on Muradin Bronzebeard, who is the captain of the Skybreaker, and High Overlord Sourfang of the Horde. So let's go ahead and do this. As soon as it comes into range, just attack it. There we go.
We're taking hold of Sergeant! Get a soldier out here to shut down those cannons! You dare board my ship? Your death will come swiftly!
I'm on a boat! Yes, I am. There you go, we've actually won.
Business soon. Korkron, annihilate them!
Okay, so all you gotta do is claim this chest. And now that we've won, we get first pickings on the upper part of the Citadel to take on the next boss, which is kind of a sad one for Overlord Sourfang. So let's go ahead and get on. This is actually, strangely enough, my first time ever doing this on a Horde character. So doing this on Orgrim's Hammer was kind of fun. So you'll notice that when Sourfang was talking, there were some rumors that apparently Dranosh has since been resurrected by the Scourge to be a Death Knight. This is actually another thing you learned in the cutscene in Ulduar, is that when the Lich King is taunting poor Bolvar, well, he's also bringing up a previous success that he's had, which is to, and you get kind of a shadow of it, an Orcish Death Knight, we can only assume is Dranosh Sourfang. So let's go and talk to Sourfang.
Brave soldier of the Horde, I salute you. We would have surely been destroyed by the Alliance gunship had it not been for you and your allies. Take a moment to rest before we begin our assault upon the upper reaches of the Citadel.
We are ready to go, High Overlord. The Lich King must fall.
Are you sure, Drakfu? We must face the Scourge at full strength if we are to succeed. If you do not require more rest, we will begin.
Loktar Ogar, we are ready! Onward, Brother Orc!
Move out! Champions, watch your backs! The Scourge have been caught!
Join me, Father. Join me and we will crush this world in the name of the Scourge. For the glory of the Lich King.
My boy died at the Wrathgate. I am here only to collect his body.
Stubborn and old, what chance do you have? I am stronger and more powerful than you ever were.
We named him Dranosh. It means Heart of Draenor in Orcish. I would not let the Warlocks take him. My boy would be safe, hidden away by the Elders of Garadar. I made a promise to his mother before she died, that I would cross the dark portal alone. Whether I lived or died, my son would be safe, untainted.
Again, this is the first time I've heard this dialogue.
I fulfill that promise.
Oh, crap! And now you gotta save him.
Come then, heroes. Come and face the might of the Scourge.
Alright, so we will go ahead and take care of this lore. Because unfortunately, you can't really do much else right now. Fist of Fury! I'll go ahead and go over his description in a second. Let's see here. Almost there, almost there. we go. Now we've got a bit of a cutscene after this too, so just bear with me. There's a ton of lore in here, and it's amazing. So it says, High Overlord Sourfang weeps over the corpse of his son.
You will have a proper ceremony in Nagrand, next to the pyres of your mother and ancestors.
If only we could say we were done, but unfortunately we're about to have some visitors. At least I think they come in the Horde version. Maybe they don't.
Honor young heroes, no matter how dire the battle. Never forsake it.
Okay, yeah, it actually... Interesting. Okay, so you unfortunately don't get the scene on this side, but I do want to actually explain this. But first, let's go over the lore of Deathbringer Sourfang. So, let's see. After falling to Frostmourne at the Battle of Angrathar, the Wrathgate, Dranosh Sourfang was raised in undeath by the Lich King and brought to Icecrown Citadel. Imbued with the power of the Scourge, the Deathbringer bars the way of any attackers trying to enter the Upper Spire. Oh, that's right. Sorry. It was Canon Thomas that was interrupting me. The other thing, too, that the Dungeon Journal used to actually say is that he is described as being the Lich King's most powerful Death Knight. Hence why he has the title of Deathbringer. So, with that, you've now seen the Horde version of this scene. The Alliance scene actually goes very different in the fact that Muradin is, again, the person you work with. You save him, and then eventually we find out that Dranosh Sourfang still, or not Dranosh, but High Overlord Sourfang still made his way to claim his body's corpse, or his son's corpse. And Muradin can't let him pass. Eventually, Varian Rin and Jaina Proudmoore make their way here, and Varian does allow for Overlord Sourfang to take his boy. And it's actually a really moving moment. A lot of people who hated Varian up until that point, a lot of them will say this is the turning point in which they didn't hate him so much and wanted some additional character development for him. And that's why, is because he actually did allow for a grieving father to pass and claim his son. Claim the body of his son, anyway. And that dialogue, this is like the first time I think I've ever heard it. It's beautiful, especially on the Horde side. So you'll remember that I said that Naxxramas was the inspiration. So here is the Spire of the Frozen Throne.
Freezes the marrow of my bones.
I can feel the Lich King reaching out, watching us.
Okay. Fun fact, these are actually all the quest givers that you dealt with in Zul'Drak. They were like daily quest givers that you could do for the Argent Crusade. So we'll deal with them a little bit later. But yeah, Naxxramas is kind of the main inspiration because from here, we actually have 3 wings that we need to take out. And we're going to start with the first one that released, the Plague Works. Which is funny because this actually contains one of the hardest bosses in this instance, at least on heroic mode. I remember a lot of guilds actually bypassing this guy for a long time and doing the other wings until they felt they were more adequately geared to take on the leader of the Plague Works. So as you can see, this is kind of like the Abomination wing of Icecrown Citadel. Obviously, a lot of experiments are being done here to make even more mindless weapons of the Scourge. Let's see. We have even more decaying colossi. Not that kind of colossi, people. Not that kind. Let's make our way in here. And the cool part about this wing is that there's actually a lot of hilarity here, but there's also 2 Gluth clones that were done from Naxxramas, one being called Precious and the other one being called Stinky. Since Precious is the first one that's coming our way, we'll go ahead and take care of her first, but oh, look at that, she has a pretty little bow on the side of her head. Oh, that just makes you not a zombie dog now, doesn't it? Well, we don't care, because we're gonna kill Precious anyway. She is a mini-boss. We've gotta do it. Sorry, Precious, but you know what you did.
Precious!
I love that dialogue. Okay, so here is Stinky. We'll go ahead and take care of him too. He's just a little mini boss again. And the cool part about Precious and Stinky is that they actually took two mechanics from Gluth and magnified them. Now, the next two bosses, unfortunately, have zero lore about them, and the main reason they have that is because they are brand spanking new abomination creations made by the leader of the Plague Works, Professor Putricide. So, it's just a brand new abomination model. Unfortunately, there's no specific stuff other than they actually call themselves the Sons of Putricide, so you have to get used to that. But here is Festergut, so we'll go ahead and take care of him. Or as my guild so affectionately called him, the Fart Boss. Because, well, he farts on you. Face of Fury!
Just an ordinary gas cloud. But watch out, because that's no ordinary gas cloud.
Oh, really? It's not? Okay. Could it be that he farted on us? He actually does. He releases gas spores. He's the boss that farts on you. You knew that was coming. Face of Fury! There we go. So there's actually Professor Putricide. You can see him up on his lab observing Festergut, but unfortunately we've now killed one of his precious creations. And we'll go ahead and turn this knob right here. You can't actually advance to Putricide unless you've turned the knobs in both of his creation's rooms. And now let's go ahead and advance to the next room. So the central door is where you actually go in for Putricide, but you have to take out these two before you can even take him on. This is another cool thing about Icecrown Citadel. It's littered with traps. There we go. We're not going to worry about that too much. And here is the next boss, Rotbase. Again, another experimental abomination boss. In fact, a lot of the new redesigned abominations that we've since seen are based off of Festergut and Rotbase. And this one, my guild affectionately called the Barf Boss, because, well, he barfs on you. So first you got farted on, and then you got spewed on. That's appropriate. This guy's like a poop quest all on his own. Yeah, screw you. You can go ahead and spew your slime. It's not like it does anything to me.
News, everyone.
Oh, good news.
Slime is blowing again.
Is it now? Okay, well, we'll manage to avoid it. There we go. Aw, bad news? Well, that's sad. So we've taken out, unfortunately, Professor Putricide's beloved creations. And now it's time for us to take him out. Now, thankfully, he has lore. So we will go over that, but first we have to make our way to him. And, well, he's made sure that it's a little bit more difficult than usual. So you open up the door, you notice that there's these flesh-eating insects in here. Huh. Nothing bad is going on right now. Except, oh, the door just closed. And now, oh, there's so many flesh-eating insects in here. So this is kind of a clever nod back to old school Stratholme. And you had to take care of these flesh-eating insects before you can move on. And now we've entered Putricide's laboratory of alchemical horrors and fun. You could see that this guy's kind of the spoof boss in the long run. At least that's kind of how he was designed to be. So, Festergut, Rotface, we don't need to worry about him, but let's go ahead and go into the lore of Professor Putricide. Oh, now already you can tell he's very much modeled after the professor from Futurama, or Professor Farnsworth. So Professor Putricide is the scourge genius behind the development of all forms of blight, plague, ooze, scourge, and death delivery. He is the final boss in the Plague Works section. And that's pretty much it. He's the guy who designs all plagues, all blights, everything that the scourge uses in its arsenal. And as you can see, here's all of his lab where he works on it. But we're not going to worry about that because we're going to take on Professor Putricide. Good news!
I think I perfected a plan that will destroy all life on Azeroth.
Have you now? Well, I hope you can actually unleash it, because if you can't, then you're screwed.
I don't feel a thing. What? Where'd those come from?
I don't know. Where did they come from, Professor? Can you grow more? There we go. Oh, now he's guzzling more potions. This isn't good. He already had tentacles on his back. And now...
Tastes like cherry. Oh, excuse me.
Well, I'm afraid I can't excuse you, man. You look absolutely horrible. I wish I could say that you looked any better than you normally do, but nope, not really. So, boom!
Everyone, I don't think I'm going to make it.
Let's all have a moment of silence for Professor Putricide. He who has entertained us for so long. Okay, so that actually ends the Plague Works. Now we can actually go into the second unlocked wing of Icecrown Citadel, which was the Blood Halls, or the Crimson Halls. Where we're going to meet with some old friends, because that is the wing completely devoted to the Sand Lane. Now, a few people have asked for a little bit more of an explanation for the Sand Lane. To put it as quickly as I can, when Illidan was tasked to come back to Icecrown Citadel, or to Icecrown Glacier, to destroy the Frozen Throne personally, he brought Kael'thas Sunstrider and a lot of elite Blood Elves along the way. Unfortunately, though, when they left, or when Illidan was hurt, Kael'thas had a bit of a hasty retreat and wasn't able to bring everybody with him. So the remaining elite Blood Elves that were there were killed and eventually resurrected as members of the Scourge. In fact, the Sand Lane act as the lieutenants of the Scourge. They are the ones that captain it when the Lich King doesn't have to be there. So, here we go. We are now in the Crimson Halls. There we go. Oh, no, don't care. Basically, the way to look at this is Bloodwing. Again, this is also a mirror of the Death Knight, because we just got out of the Unholy Wing, this is the Blood Wing, and then there's eventually a Frost Wing. It's like Death Knights influenced every part of this expansion. Well, they kind of did. Alright, we'll take care of these guys. And you can actually see, so we have Prince Taldaram, Prince Valinar, and Prince Keleseth. All of which we had since taken out in our questing. In Utgard Keep, we took out Prince Keleseth. In Ankahet, the Old Kingdom, we took out Prince Taldaram. And during the Naxanar quest line in Borean Tundra, we took out Prince Valinar. But they're still here. I wonder why they're still here. I guess we'll find out in a second. Oh, and look, there's their leader, Blood Queen Lanathel. Now, a lot of her lore is actually based in the Keldalar quest line that you can get in the game. If you actually are able to secure the Battered Hilt in the Frozen Halls instances, I would actually encourage you, if you've never done it before, don't sell it. Do that quest just to see how the lore plays out, since now people are way overpowered for it anyway. Unfortunately, there's not too much as far as lore to go for these guys, and I'm going to keep Lanathel for when we actually face her. But here you go.
Foolish mortals. You thought us defeated so easily. The Sand Lane are the Lich King's immortal soldiers. Now, you shall face their might combined. Rise up, brothers, and destroy our enemies!
Oh, this isn't good. We have to face them again? Yes, we do.
Naxxramas was merely a setback. Blood will flow on the orb. Valinor will have his vengeance.
Now, technically, they all have a shared health pool, but you could. All I have to do is really focus on one of them to be able to take them all out. Now, they will actually swap. So you have to keep that in mind when facing them. We don't have to worry about that, though, because they're about to die.
They come.
And in fact, you can actually see that's Utgard Keep, that's Naxxramas, and that is Ahn'kahet, the Old Kingdom. So, yeah, basically they share an orb, and then it empowers their basic abilities, which are now very much empowered for raids. But there you go. Really quick, I believe there's just a tiny bit of lore that we can go over with these guys. All of their lore has basically been done in the dungeons. So all of them have been fought and killed by adventurers. Keleseth and Utgard Keep, Valinor and Naxxramas and Borean Tundra, and Tal'Daram in the Ahn'kahet, the Old Kingdom instance, and brought back to Icecrown Citadel to once again serve the Lich King, only to die again. In service of the Lich King. At least they're consistent in what they're doing, right? Can't necessarily say they aren't. Well, let's go ahead and take these guys out. Now we make our way to Blood Queen Lanethel. Not too hard. Now this room in particular I actually do like. Basically it's Blood Elf Warlocks or Dark Fallen Nobles that are basically playing tricks on themselves. They will sit there and polymorph each other just to mess with the others. That's cruel, but at the same time it works for the Sand Lane. There we go. Now, the other part that I didn't explain about the Sand Lane is that they are very unique in their undead form, as they are also vampires. You don't really get to see this so much with the other two Blood Princess. Tal'Daram does suck your blood, but the best way to be able to see this is through Blood Queen Lanethel. Now, like I said, there's tons of lore, and again, I recommend you guys go do the Keldalar quest line to be able to get it all, but I'll just give you kind of a brief one that the Dungeon Journal would give. So, the Blood Queen Lanethel is the leader of the Sand Lane, a group of Kael'thas's greatest followers, raised in undeath by the Lich King and transformed into vampiric beings. And she is the former wielder of Keldalar, which she got from Thalorian Dawnseeker, and basically held her own for quite a while until the Lich King had to come and personally kill her. And then you claim Keldalar because you find the battered hilt. So there you go, that's Blood Queen Lanethel. Let's go and take her out.
You have made an unwise decision.
Wouldn't be the first time, lady! Let's go ahead and take her out. This is actually kind of a lengthy bout. Oh no, she's made me a vampire! What on earth will I do? Well, I guess I'll just have to take her out quicker. We actually do need to take her out pretty quick because of the vampire plague. Ah, crap. Oh, no, never mind. Wrong debuff. We're okay for now, but I gotta take her out quick. Because the vampirism can actually kill you.
We were all getting along. So...
Or rather, the vampirism doesn't kill you, but it does make you a vampire. And if you don't eventually bite somebody, which I have nobody to bite, you would then become mind-controlled, and this encounter would have to be reset. But hey, we get a cool little exit out of here, out of the Crimson Hall. And that's it. That's all of the Crimson Hall. Now, the next one we get to go to is the Frostwing, which is aptly named the Frostwing Halls, or as a lot of people called it, the Dragon, or the Frostworm Wing, because all of its encounters are based around dragons. So, here's our buddy Croc.
arms, my Argent brothers. The Vrykul will protect the Frost Queen with their lives.
Yes, they will.
Even dying here beats spending another day collecting reagents for that madman Finkelstein.
Enough idle banner. Our champions have arrived. Support them as we push our way through the hall.
Exactly. Just gonna heal really quick.
You may have once fought beside me, Croc, but now you are nothing more than a traitor. Come, your second death approaches.
March forward!
Okay, now I gotta be a little careful here because I gotta make sure that I grab these Deathbringers. Otherwise, they'll just sit there and summon ads and I'll have to deal with.
Push on!
I'm out of range.
Okay, now that we're taking care of her, boom! Last wing.
Hurry, before that Valkyrie picks us off.
Okay, now let's take care of these Ymirjar warlords. There we go. And finally, Sister
The
Svalna.
reinforcements will arrive shortly. We must bring her down quickly.
Foolish Croc. You brought my reinforcements with you. Arise, Argent champions, and serve the Lich King in death!
No!
Come, Scourge. I'll show the master which of us is truly worthy of the title of champion. Perhaps you were right, Croc.
There we go.
I'll draw her attacks. Return our brothers to their graves. Then help me bring her down.
All right, so this actually starts up the first official encounter.
Of our progress. You must press on and bring down Sindragosa. Loktar champions.
So the first encounter that we actually deal with isn't necessarily Sindragosa, but she's kind of the end boss, the second to the last boss of the Lich King, or till the Lich King. This one...
Much in this war against the Scourge. May the light embrace you.
Unfortunately, again, not really a whole lot of lore. So it looks like the Lich King has captured a green dragon.
Beware the dangers
The cool
that lie
part about
ahead,
this, though...
and do try to remain in one piece.
Okay, shut up. Like I said, the Lich King has captured a green dragon, and unlike most raid boss encounters where the DPS do the damage, this one was cool in the fact that it let the healers now take the DPS reins. You actually needed to take as many healer-based DPS classes as you could, as well as your own healers, and heal up the dragon to 100%. That's actually how you win this encounter. Thankfully, I have a fuse, so we can get it going, but here is Valithria Dreamwalker. Again, unfortunately, she's just a green dragon that's been captured by the Scourge. There literally is nothing else on her. And she hasn't done anything in the story since.
Leave only bones and sinew for the reanimation.
Oh, wow.
Heroes, lend me your aid. I cannot hold them off.
This
much
might take a
longer.
while.
You must heal my wounds.
This is probably going to take a while, so we'll probably have to take care of these guys as we go along. Boom. Let's go ahead and summon Zhuen, just so that he can help us out with this.
I have opened a portal into the dream. Your salvation lies within, heroes.
Now, unfortunately, if I take the portal, it will reset the encounter here, so I just basically have to heal her up as best I can.
Strength is returning. Press on, heroes.
Wow, I should have brought some Draenor first aid. That would have done a lot more than what I'm doing currently. Drakfu, seriously! We need to work on your healing. We really do. Oh, and this also is hurting because these suppressors will basically make all healing to her suppressed. So I'm having an additional
I
problem.
have opened a portal into the dream.
Yay.
Your salvation lies within, heroes.
Just gonna have to do this as best as I can. Take care of as many of these guys as I possibly can along the way. But then I have to do this. Go back in here. Oh, that's right. These guys will eventually just lay waste to the entire area. Okay, 88%.
Opened a portal into the dream. Your salvation lies within, heroes.
92, 93, 96, 98. Oh, almost there. Boom.
Dude, is Sarah grant me the favor to lay these foul creatures to rest?
So she just basically nukes all of the ads. So that's what your tanks and your DPS are doing at that time, is taking care of these ads while the healers heal up the dragon. It's a really cool mechanic that unfortunately has never been done in raids again, and it makes me sad that it's never been done again. Would have actually been awesome to have more fights where healers could actually be something other than a healer. At least in the unique way that this did it. So that's Velythria Dreamwalker, and now we make our way to the second to last boss of Icecrown Citadel, the Frostworm Sindragosa. And if you don't know who Sindragosa is, you obviously have never seen the Wrath of the Lich King cinematic, because the Frostworm that he is actually resurrecting is Sindragosa. Let's see if I can bring up the lore while we're waiting here. We're gonna have to go through some events anyway, so we might as well just do this. Yes, Sindragosa, formerly the prime consort of Malygos, up until her death during the War of the Ancients, was a mighty frostworm raised by the Lich King himself to serve as the queen of the Frost Brood.
Must not approach the Frost Queen. Quickly,
There you go.
stop them!
You have to do this gauntlet first, though, so unfortunately we gotta take care of all of these Nerubians. Don't care. We'll nuke you guys anyway. There we go. Up next comes the Ymirjar. All these frozen... Thankfully, it's not too hard to take them out. We'll have to deal with one more round of Nerubians, and then we can finally face off against Sindragosa after we take care of some of her minions. Being the queen of the Frost Brood, she's been really busy. Take of that what you will. There we go. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and exit as soon as I kill this guy. Boom! This takes us out to Sindragosa's room. And here's the funniest part. You can actually see two Frostworms out there, one of which is familiar. That is Rhymefang. Rhymefang was the mount of Scourgelord Tyrannus in the Pit of Seren. And after you killed him, remember, he said to Rhymefang to go warn Sindragosa, hence why she came in and nuked the platform. But we also have another Frostworm named Spinestalker. Nothing's really known about him. That's kind of the problem again. Just gotta kill these guys off fast. There we go. And now Rhymefang and Spinestalker have come to avenge their fallen kin. We're gonna take care of Spinestalker first. Really no difference in how you handle this. You can take on Rhymefang first if you want. But just for the sake of doing things properly, or not doing things properly, but just doing things the way they are. Now we'll take out Rhymefang. You can go meet Tyrannus in death.
You are fools to have come to this place! The icy winds of Northrend will consume your souls!
Will they now? Okay, good to know. So this is the former prime consort of Malagos. Gee, they can join each other in insanity. Keep on nuking her. This was basically a DPS race in the fact that there were mechanics to it, but this was the DPS check and race to see if you were ready for the Lich King. The Lich King was a significantly difficult battle, as well he should be, considering all the hype leading into him.
Master's limitless power and despair.
What if I don't want to despair? You haven't covered that part. Fist of Fury! Kill the Frost Queen! There you go. That's it. That is all the wings. There's only one place left to go. And that is the Frozen Throne itself. It's time for us to take on the Lich King. Now, I'm not going to worry about the lore for him. You guys are just going to see what happens. If you guys want to know more stuff on the Lich King, like I said, in the description below will be attached the story of the Lich King as told by Novel. And I recommend you guys, you check it out. It's actually one of the newer videos that has like actual machinima-based art to be able to explain the story better. It's an amazing, amazing story that Novel tries to tell. Not just of Arthas Menethil, but he does cover him. Also of the Lich King Ner'zhul, and covering his story on our plane, our Azeroth. Not Draenor, not the Draenor Ner'zhul, our Ner'zhul. So go ahead and check that out, and we're just going to conclude the events of Icecrown Citadel now. So all you have to do is go to this main central spire, and this is the only transporter that leads up to the Frozen Throne. And there he is, and there is Bolvar right above him. And here's High Lord Tyrion Fordring. Let's go and talk to him. Long have I waited for this day, hero. Are you and your allies prepared to bring the Lich King to justice? We charge on your command. We are prepared, High Lord. Let us battle for the fate of Azeroth, for the light of dawn. All right, try and show this from a cool angle. So give me a second here. There we go.
The light's vaunted justice has finally arrived. Shall I lay down Frostborn and throw myself at your mercy, Fordring?
We'll grant you a swift death, Arthas. More than can be said for the thousands you've tortured and slain.
You'll learn of that firsthand. When my work is complete, you will beg for mercy, and I will deny you. Your anguished cries will be testament to my unbridled power.
So be it. Champions, attack!
Oh no! He's been frozen! Well, we now need to kill you! You froze Tyrion! Fist of Fury! You must die, Lich King! There we go! Oh no, so many shattering horrors! He can summon everything! I'm trying to take care of the zombie here. I'm gonna be as quiet as I can so you guys can hear the dialogue. It is great. Oh, dang it. Well, I'm gonna have to do this again, unfortunately, so...
Watch as the world around you collapses. From within, until all that remains is an icy husk.
Have him! Oh no!
You are Azeroth's greatest champions. You overcame every challenge I laid before you. My mightiest servants have fallen before your relentless onslaught. Your unbridled fury. Is it truly righteousness that drives you? I wonder. You trained them well, Fordring. You delivered the greatest fighting force this world has ever known. Right into my hands. Exactly as I intended. You shall be rewarded for your unwitting sacrifice.
Oh no, what does he mean?
Watch now, as I raise them from the dead to become masters of the Scourge. They will shroud this world in chaos and destruction. Azeroth's fall will come at their hands.
Oh no!
And you will be the first to die.
He's just gonna resurrect us as Scourge!
In the irony.
It'll make us do unspeakable things!
Grant me one final blessing. Give me the strength to shatter these bonds.
Holy crap! The light! It's working! Tyrion, go! Smash! He broke it!
No more, Arthas! No more lives will be consumed by your hatred!
Free, at last. It is over, my son. This is the moment of reckoning. Rise up, champions of the light!
We have been resurrected! Well, we technically didn't die, but boom! We have killed the Lich King! To get the first ever in-game cinematic. Enjoy.
Father, is it over?
At long last. No king rules forever, my son.
I see. Only darkness before me.
Without its master's command, the restless scourge will become an even greater threat to this world. Control must be maintained. There must always be a Lich King.
The weight of such a burden. It must be mine, for there is no other.
Tyrion! You hold a grim destiny in your hands, brother. But it is not your own.
Bolvar! By all that is holy.
The dragon's flame seal my fate. The world of the living can no longer comfort me. Place the crown upon my head, Tyrion. Forevermore, I will be the jailer of the damned.
No, old friend. I cannot.
Do it, Tyrion! You and these brave heroes have your own destinies to fulfill. This last act of service is mine. I must be forgotten, Tyrion. If the world is to live free from the tyranny of fear, they must never know what was done here today. Tell them only that the Lich King is dead, and that Bolvar Fordragon died with him. Now, go. Leave this place, and never return.
And what did we do? We returned all the time for mount runs and whatnot. So there you go, guys. That leaves a lot of interesting things to discuss. First of all, the way that this fight actually goes is that once you hit 10%, he nukes everybody in the raid. You all die, and then he goes over into that monologue that he did. Basically, all of the events leading up into Wrath of the Lich King, the reason he goaded us, the reason he tempted us, was to strengthen us, and then eventually resurrect us as soldiers of the Scourge. So that was his threat to Tyrion. Thankfully, Tyrion, though, stopped him from doing that, shattered the Blade Frostmourne, and in turn, Tyrannus Menethil would resurrect us, and the last 10% you get to kill the Lich King. And already with those events, we've seen the death of Arthas Menethil and the rise of Bolvar Fordragon, the Jailer of the Damned. It's one of those spoilers that I kind of wished wasn't ruined already when we got into Wrath of the Lich King, but yeah, so Bolvar Fordragon takes over as the Lich King, and actually he gets a prominent role in the Death Knight class campaign in Legion. Well, let's go ahead and see what loot we got. Nope, unfortunately, we didn't really walk away with anything monumental. It would have been awesome to see Invincible on that loot list, but I think we're not in the proper difficulty. And that actually does it for the Wrath of the Lich King. That is the wrap-up to the major storyline within Wrath of the Lich King. Now, are we done? Unfortunately, not yet. Tune in next week as Dungeons & Drakfus wraps up Wrath of the Lich King by first of all visiting a dungeon or a raid that literally evolved as Wrath of the Lich King unfolded, and finally we'll take on the last raid that came after Icecrown Citadel to start up the events of the next expansion, Cataclysm. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys then.